people, welcome to the Run Testers. It's Kieran here. I am in Victoria Park in East London for the RunThrough Half Marathon. I'm shortly going to be doing, I think it's 6.7 loops of this park here. Today, for this video, I'm going to be testing the Adidas Adios Pro Evo 2. Going to give those a whip round here. Those of you who watch the channel might have already seen that I did a mile test in them where it was quite wet and it was a bit slippy and they didn't really hold up very well. Well, today we've got clear skies, hopefully we've got dry paths. Should be a kind of better test for them when you're able to move all out. I'm going to basically go and see if I can run my fastest ever half marathon. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it after Dublin and Chester, but I'm going to give it a crack anyway because this is the last PB I need for a clean sweep of PBs from 1 mile to 100 miles in 2025. So we're going to give it a shot. We'll see if those shoes can give me the edge over a longer distance and how they feel when you start to run beyond an hour at pace in the shoes. I'm also going to be looking at the Google Pixel Watch 4 in race mode. I'm going to put that up against the 4 and a 970 for GPS battery life, all of those things, the real-time pacing, those bits and bobs, and I'll give you a little verdict on how I found this run-through event. We've got about an hour till race, so I'm going to get my head in the game. So race plan is kind of simple really. I've got 1:22.53 to beat. In order to do that I basically need to run 13 miles at 6:15, which will get me under by probably a minute if I can do that, but that's a simple number rather than trying to, yeah, I mean it's only one number to remember even if I do 6:18, but there's something in my head says just run for 6:15s. Somehow it's easier. It's not easier than 6:18, but anyway, that's how my brain works. So I'm running 6:15s until I can't run 6:15s anymore. We'll see if the shoes help me get to that, and yeah, we'll see if the watches keep me on that pace nicely. Big open space here, big open skies, so the GPS should do pretty well out here. But that is the plan, 6:15s, for as long as I can run 6:15s. So that is the RunThrough Victoria Park Half done. I think I've done 1:21 or something, maybe just under, which is like that could be like a 3-minute PB. Feeling a bit sick now. Yeah, I'm just going to pick up some goodies. There's lots of goodies here, and then I'm going to go and do it. I'll talk to you about the shoes when my body's calmed down, but yeah, ran well, ran strong, lots of loops, feel sick. So then, got warm, stopped feeling a bit sick, got one of these. So that is the Victoria Park RunThrough Half Marathon done in the Adidas Pro Evo 2. So today was a whole different ball game from the mile test I did, where everything was kind of slippy and wet. It was much drier. There was still some kind of leaves on the ground on some of the tight corners, and when the leaves were compacted, the grip, which is obviously what I've been ranting on about the Pro Evo in all the videos that we've done, yeah, I had to sort of be aware and I would move away from those leaves. But I think out there I've run a 1:21, which is, I think that's like a 2-minute PB. I don't know my exact time yet, I haven't checked. But yeah, my fastest half. The race here itself, let's have a little chat about that. It was pretty crowded out there. I've done this one a couple years ago, and you're basically doing like 6.7 loops of the park. So you've got to like loops to do this race. And then what happens is, because you're doing loops, even if you're out in the front, you're going to start mixing in with other runners who are moving slower. There's a 10k that I think had started shortly after us, but mixed in as well towards the end of the half. So at times you are having to weave. It can make it a bit difficult if you want to run and have those sort of clear lines for running and you like to have open space. This isn't maybe the one, because you are always sort of coming up behind people and having to weave through. Having said that, I think you could look at it another way, and there are always people to chase down, people to sort of run past, and that can create a sense of momentum, which I sort of try to use in my favour. I'd sort of be using it to kind of pass people and sort of build confidence, and the fact that you're pulsing around the course and you're seeing familiar bits, little chunks, I think sort of draws you around a little bit if you use it right as well, rather than sort of not knowing what's next. You can sort of hit these marks on each lap of the course that kind of break it up a little bit more, and you can also use it to check in on your pacing. The other thing back there I would say is one side of it was slightly uphill. It's not uphill, but there's a slight, ever so slight incline, and it felt like at that point we were running into a bit of a headwind. So for that, you could feel that it was a little bit more difficult on the back stretch. So you're kind of asking why you were sort of digging. So on the flip side, on the other side, you've got that back. So that made for interesting pacing and having to sort of manage the feel as you ran round. So I think the rest of this stuff out here is really well organised. The run-through events tend to be really great. It's a really nice selection of sort of goodie bag snacks afterwards with Tenzing drinks and Biscoff flapjacks and God knows what. It's chip timed, so that's all good. Scan your code, get a time afterwards. Get race photos, which I believe are free afterwards as well. You can just scan a code and get those. And it was pretty well marshalled. A couple of things I have to sort of note here, because you're in an open park and there's a lot going on, there are people moving about, and there were runners sort of often coming towards me in the other direction out for their normal Saturday run, as is their right to do, and you had to kind of keep an eye out for those. The other thing was, came to one water station, and there was one guy who was running faster than me, pushing a buggy. He was brilliant, and I used him a lot to pace. But as I came into one of the water stations, he clipped my heel, nearly tripped me up at about 10 miles, so that wasn't ideal. And then there is only one water station as you're kind of flipping around this on the loops. So you meet it every lap, which is, every couple of miles. It's about 3 tables. It's a bit congested. Did have little bottles of water. It's easy enough, but you've got the frequency of it, which, for over a half, I think that's fine. And then just as I was kind of literally in the last 100 meters, sort of sprinting to try and get under 121, someone had kicked a football across into the basically the finish funnel. So I have to apologise to the people who were standing to the left, because for some reason the minute that football rolled across me, I believe I was running at like a 6-minute mile. I'm shifting, and my first thought was I'm going to put that in row Z, going back to my football days, and that's exactly what I did. So I chipped it, and the minute I'd left my boot, I was thinking, or the minute I'd left the Pro Evo 2, I was thinking that's the worst idea you've ever had, Kieran. And it was just one of those, it went in slow motion, because I was like, the minute I'd done it, I knew it was a stupid thing to do. Luckily it cleared the first back wave of people, went off, and it didn't hit anyone or hurt anyone. But I want to apologise to those people who are standing in the front row, because it was just a slap in my brain. I don't know what my brain was thinking. It was a silly thing to do. So apologies for that. But that's the first time ever, with about 20 metres of a half marathon to go, that a football was rolled across in front of me. That isn't necessarily ideal. So let's talk about the shoes then. £450 Pro Evo 2s. I've now done, I think that's my kind of 4th run in them. Did the all-out kind of mile test at the Ealing Mile, where it was very wet and they didn't cope very well. This over a half marathon distance, 80 minutes or so on feet, on slightly drier conditions. The grip held up there, but at certain points not 100% reliable in some of the corners where there were leaves on the ground, and I found myself having to adjust where I was running because of the shoes. That's not something that you really normally want to do, so I was taking some of the corners wide to avoid wetter bits or bits where there are any kind of leaves, and those kind of slick sort of outsoles just baffle me a little bit. In terms of how they ride underfoot and the punch that they deliver, the energy that they're giving back, I mean, they deliver. They do absolutely deliver. They are super light. The good thing about the way they feel on the foot and the comfort and the way the uppers wrap, I just didn't feel that or notice that they were there. They were just working in the background. They hold well. I had no slipping in the main. There's only one sort of tight turn where my foot did come off the platform a little bit and I had to adjust to get back on, but on the whole, I think you stay right on top of that platform, and they engage with a kind of consistency and reliability that I talked about in the mile. That this isn't a bouncy kind of energy. This a more kind of locked in, kind of engaged feeling to the foam. It's much more immediate. It's much more responsive. There's real snappiness to them. Starts basically with that kind of landing, and then you're rolling into that rock, and it's really punching you off quick. That foam, I'd say it's firm compared to something like a Saucony Endorphin Elite 2. Definitely compared to like a Metaspeed Edge Tokyo or Array. It's much less compressive, it's coming back much quicker, and for some people maybe that's going to create a ride that isn't quite as forgiving as they would like, or doesn't have that kind of big boingy energy that you do get from some super shoes. I really quite like it. I like that snap, I like that control, I like the fact that you're sort of feeling the ground underfoot and you're working with the ground, and they held up really well. The consistency of my pacing throughout that really surprised me. I thought I'd be on quite tired legs, and actually I think I ran sort of quite a fast mile at the end, and they just helped me through that in terms of sort of delivering efficiency, sparing the legs. And my legs actually right now, as I'm walking back, I don't feel like I've done an all-out half marathon. Like I'm moving pretty freely. The big thing you've got to ask yourself though is, are they a couple £100 better than the other carbon shoes out there? And I don't think so. Would I have got a similar performance out there if I'd have put on the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo, or you know, maybe the Rays, or you know, another carbon race shoe? Probably. I think, you know, Puma Fast R3 would have done a job out there again today, and I just can't see that there's that much, you know, sort of headroom. I wouldn't want to pay that much for them. I'm really intrigued now. I need to go back and I'm going to do like a side-by-side with the Metaspeed Ray Tokyo. One thing I want to know is like, how far ahead, if at all, is this, you know, Pro Evo 2 versus that shoe in terms of performance? Because really that's maybe one that it's up against, because you know, if you really want that kind of all-out lightness, then the Pro Evo 2s and the Rays are going to be the shoes you've got to go to. But can you just get the same performance by running the Ray and saving yourself a couple £100? You know, there's an argument there, so we're going to go and find that out. But overall, if I'm going to give you a verdict on the Adidas Pro Evo 2, and it's this, basically it's a really good shoe. There's a lot to like about it. It's really light, it's very comfortable, it's giving you great energy. If you like a shoe that engages faster, that's a bit firmer, that's a bit snappier, it's a bit firmer, that's a bit snappier, that yeah, isn't, you know, you don't have to have all that kind of bounce, but it's full of energy, it's going to be leg sparing. Big thumbs up. If you want a shoe that you're going to be able to run in the wet conditions, big thumbs down. Does it justify £450? Probably not. That's basically the summary. So it's a great shoe. For £270, maybe I'd recommend it a bit more highly, but I can't really justify spending £450 on a shoe. I mean, even if it gave me 5 minutes off my marathon performance, I still don't know if I would justify spending that much money on a shoe, unless you're, you know, an elite. Onto the watches then. I tested the Google Pixel Watch 4 41mm. I had the Garmin Forerunner 970 for comparison. I also wore the HRM 600 chest strap for benchmarking. For the test, I whacked the screen up to full brightness on both watches and had the always on screen switched on and max accuracy GPS mode engaged. Now, for the Pixel Watch 4, the screen was nice and bright, it was easy enough to read, though the small screen isn't the easiest to see lots of stats, so you may be better served having kind of 1 or 2 priority numbers on there on that smaller display. When it comes to the battery life, the Google Pixel Watch 4 burns 17% for the 1 hour 20 half. The Forerunner 970 was just 5% for that time. For another comparison, way back when I did the Apple Watch Series 11 over a marathon, that burned 35%. So actually those two are quite closely matched, the Pixel Watch 4 and the Apple Watch Series 11. So pretty much textbook smartwatch battery life here. On GPS, the Forerunner clocked 13.05. The Pixel Watch 4 came in at 13.07 miles. You'd normally expect a bit of extra distance over the course. There's a very close kind of match to the total course distance, and both watches were hitting the mile markers with a good accuracy whilst I was running. I was really happy with the in-race kind of real-time GPS performance for that. And for my pacing as well, it was pretty good. The Google Pixel Watch 4 wasn't as consistent at nailing the tracks as the Garmin Forerunner 970. It's a bit more kind of spread, and you can see that here in the GPS tracks. The Pixel Watch 4 kind of had a few blips like this one at what must have been when I went left to the water station. The Garmin Auto Track detection also kept triggering when I ran past a nearby track. I forgot I had that setting on, that was a little bit annoying. On heart rate, the Pixel Watch 4 optical put in a good performance for an optical sensor. You can see here it does a solid job of matching the chest strap, and the averages and max HRs were as close as you'd expect from optical up against the chest strap. So I'd say the Pixel Watch 4 does an okay job. It will happily cover races up to the marathon, but it wouldn't really be my first choice as a running watch, and definitely not for racing. The 40970 is far superior in terms of the capability. I also think I would choose the Apple Watch Series 11 over the Google Pixel Watch for race day as well. Just a bit more screen real estate, it feels like, a bit more kind of, yeah, I don't know, just a bit easier to use, a bit better overall. So there you have it. That has been my race test at the Victoria Park run-through half of the Adidas Pro Evo 2 and the Google Pixel 4 up against the 40970. Hope you found it useful. As ever, give us a like, drop us a comment. Big shout out to Will, who I met, and congratulations on your 131. Good luck for Valencia, and yeah, go get it. Brilliant pacing today, by the way. And yeah, to everyone else, if you're interested in a kind of mile race test, how this Adidas Pro Evo 2 got on in the wet, I'm going to pop a video up on the channel to go and watch now. Otherwise, as ever, thank you very much for stopping by, and until next time, happy running, people.